Hi, everyone. Hi, Krishan.
Hi Pankaj. Hi everyone.
Hi, hi, sir. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you so much. I hope everybody is doing well here too.
We'll start in another 2 minutes of time.
Sure.
We'll wait for 2 more minutes, Krishan, and then we'll kickstart.
Sure, Pankaj. No problem.
Hi, everyone. Guys, if you guys can write something in the chat saying that, I'm I'm loud and clear and visible to you guys. That'll be really great so that we can really kickstart the discussion today. All right. Thanks, Throne. Thanks, Priya. Very helpful. Thank you very much. Welcome, guys. Welcome and wish you a very good evening. It's a chilling one for all of us, and at least the folks who are sitting in Delhi, I'm sure you're really feeling the chill that nature has been giving us. So, wishing you a very chilled and and thrilled evening today. We have a jam-packed agenda, guys, today, and I really wanted to conquer this as much as possible. What we intend to do today is to really go and really deep dive into US CPA as a curriculum. US CPA qualification, the Certified Public Accountant qualification. Of course, I am a US CPA, and I can really proudly say that it is one of the most sought after qualification around the world. Many of the MNCs are really looking forward for hiring CPAs, and CPA is something that most of the employees also of these organizations are really targeting to be. And that is the reason, my friend, I'm sure you must be having some kind of niggles in your stomach in terms of knowing and understanding more about this course. And that is the reason we thought that we should certainly get on and of course start discussing upon US CPA as a course, as a curriculum, as a qualification, to really know better on this. And who could have been better than Mr. Krishan Mishra for really being here and of course explaining about CPA. Just to I don't think, Krishan, you need any introduction to anyone, but just to do a formality check on that, Krishan has been a veteran in the education industry and has been very instrumental in and I can say that proudly because I know that in detail now, that he has been instrumental for many of the professionals, for them to reach where they have reached, because he has been a guide, he has been a guidepost, a lighthouse for all of them in terms of guiding and mentoring them to really be there, and in terms of, doing what they're doing right now at this point in time. Professionally, Krishan represents Becker, and who doesn't know Becker? Becker is a synonym, and I'm sure we'll hear more about Becker from Krishan. It is synonym of Becker, synonym of CPA across the globe. And I, being the student of Becker, I can proudly say that Becker content for CPA is the best in the world, and that is the reason we really wanted Krishan to be here to really talk about US CPA, because he really knows the content, and the understanding that he has can be really helpful for the students to really know, understand, and of course decide their fortune in terms of which direction they really want to take. So that is the reason we had Krishan here. Krishan, we wish you a very warm welcome. Warm is the right word today. Very warm welcome.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. I think warm is needed here also. I'm in Calcutta, and here the temperature is 9 degrees for the first time, which is really surprising. And I know yours is around 1.5, so yes. No comparison.
It was really bad yesterday night, I can tell you, around 2 degrees. And if you're on the street that point in time, it's really, really killing.
Yeah, it would be 2 degrees in terms of temperature. Feeling would be like 0. I know that. I have spent a lot of winter nights in Delhi, so I know that really well. Yeah.
But thank you, Krishan, for really taking out time. I think, talking to the fraternity, student large is really important. And of course, imperative for them also to really hear from somebody like you in terms of a qualification as to what this qualification is all about and so on and so forth. So, really thankful for you to really taking out time. I think it's going to be a great great discussion, guys. So, buckle up your belt. We are really going to be having a roller coaster ride over here.
Thank you, Pankaj. My pleasure. I hope I'll be able to add some value to today's discussion.
Oh, as always, Krishan. And I know that, and I'm sure, student would understand that too. Thank you very much. So guys, before we really jump in, and, I have a lot to talk and a lot to discuss on US CPA as a qualification. Just wanted to give you some, I would say Kickstarter in terms of, what the US CPA qualification is all about. And I'm going as luminous as possible because, you would really reckon that fact that, no qualification is rocket science for anyone. Like we have chartered accountancy in India. I'm a qualified chartered accountant in India. Like we have qualification, the Indian CA qualification. Likewise, we have in US the CPA qualification. That's the best and the easiest way to really know about this qualification. It is the chartered accountancy of US by all practical means. That's the starting point that I really need to have. And of course, with the advent of various companies and of course various multinationals now really getting on to the Indian platform, and of course to the other global platforms, the need of CPA has really gone up, because you really need the qualified professionals who understand the US GAAP, understand US economy, understand US accounting, understand US audit norms, and so on and so forth, to be there and be the go-getter for the companies at large. That is the reason, it is really coming into the limelight, and of course, it is really taking up the shape that one would really aspire for. But to really unlayer let me peel off the onion over here in terms of really more, knowing more about CPA. Question to you would be, if you really have to explain CPA in the context of students, for them to really understand, what would you say about this qualification?
Thank you so much, Pankaj, and thank you for inviting me, first of all. Talking about the CPA qualification, and you have given a very good context as a CPA student yourself and now a CPA alumni. Certified Public Accountant of USA is one of the topmost qualifications in the field of accounting and finance. It is the prestigious qualification, I would say. Why prestigious? Because most of the companies across the world look forward to hiring people who have got CPA as a credential, as a qualification with them. The best part with CPA is that it is not only a qualification, it becomes your designation when you complete the same. Now, this CPA designation is carried by more than 495,000 people, right? More than 495,000 people across the world right now. And AICPA has got a presence across 196 countries in the globe. So you can imagine the length and breadth of this qualification. When you get into this course, obviously you are actually part of that 495,000 people as a network. Now, imagine if you're a part of that network, what kind of alumni benefits you'll get when you complete this course. The other thing is that this course actually tests your eligibility before you become a CPA, right? So you have to go through some examinations. And obviously, these exams can be taken as per your choice. Based on your eligibility, and we'll discuss about eligibility and examinations separately. What I wanted to share here with the students is that this qualification will give you a very strong key to the door towards making a career in the field of finance and accounting, right? And that key will ensure that you not only get a very good job, you also get a good career. I can quote one point here, that there's not a single CPA across the world who is unemployed. Right, so that's the power of this qualification, and definitely this qualification plays a major role in ensuring that you get a very, very strong career, not only just an employment.
And I couldn't agree more on that. And I loved the phrase that you use, Christian, saying that there is none of the CPA in the world who is unemployed, and who can vouch for it better than me, because whatever I got in my life in terms of the growth that I had over a period of time, I got with the help of CPA for sure. So guys, just to let you know, and of course this is something that many of you might not be aware, I did my CPA almost 20 years back, and I have been associated with Becker since then, as a student and then as a faculty, and of course now and as an alumni, and now of course we being the learning partner with Becker for CPA, it is all the more relishing for me to be here and of course talk to you on CPA in terms of what you should be really understanding from this qualification. So thank you. I think, Christian, it is very well covered. Now, if I really have to, one of the questions that many of the students really have, and this is somewhat, not understood rightly in the I would say in the world, is the eligibility for the CPA qualification. There are many confusions, I can tell you, in terms of, many discussions that I've had with various students in different parts and pieces and different parts of the world. Many of the folks are not really clear in terms of what the eligibility of US CPA is, and will I be eligible for that or not. what do I really need to do to be eligible for it, and so on and so forth. So people come with various confusions, and of course, when you really scan through the net, you get all the more confused. So it is all the more vital for us to really discuss on the eligibility for pursuing US CPA. So I thought it is the best question to really be answered by yourself.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. And eligibility is a very, very important area when it comes to the CPA qualification. Unlike the other courses wherein just by doing one course, you become eligible. Here, you need certain number of credit hours to become eligible. Now, in India, we have got BCom courses being provided by most of the universities, right? And these BCom courses, for every year, we get 30 credits, right? So 30 credit for 1 year, which means that if we have done a 3-year BCom, we get 90 credits. However, for the US CPA, you need 150 credits as per the most of the states' requirements. There are few states who accept 120 credits also, which means that we are left with 30 credits in case we have not done our BCom from a NAC-A accredited institution. So for example, if you have done a BCom from NAC-A, A+, A++, right, with 60% marks, then you become automatically eligible for CPA because you have got 120 credit hours with you. However, if you have not done it from a NAC-A institution, you have done it from, say, any other institution, which is B grade or C grade or beyond, below that, then obviously you need to get more credits. Now, if you look at a post-graduation in India, right, if you look at an MCom or an MBA, right, you get 60 additional credits because of that. So 30 plus 30 plus 30, 90 because of your graduation, and post-graduation gives you 60 additional. So if you have got 60 additional, by doing a post-graduation, you get 150 credit hours to actually qualify for the CPA examination. So it is really very important for us to understand this eligibility. We should have actually studied accounting and finance related papers during our education. So somebody says that, okay, I'm a BTech or a BE, am I eligible for the CPA qualification? Practically you're not, because you have not studied accounting and finance. However, for example, in two of your semesters, you've got accounting and finance related courses and you're able to substantiate those, then you might look at asking for an eligibility there. Otherwise, what we advise is that somebody who has done an MBA in finance or an MCom, right, post-graduation, then definitely it makes them immediately eligible for the CPA examination. So it's slightly tricky, but what I can tell you is that not a rocket science, it's quite simple, right? We need to have those credit hours to be eligible for the CPA course. Now, if we are a chartered accountant, intermediate, or we have completed CA, we automatically become eligible for the CPA. Now, CA intermediate with a BCom gives them an eligibility straight away. They get 120 credit hours there. If somebody has completed CA, then they get 150 credit hours. Right. So for CA, CFA, any other accounting related qualification, they get the eligibility, or otherwise you should have done BCom plus additional 1 or 2 years of studies in terms of your post-graduation in the field of commerce, management, or finance.
Okay. So if I have to put this to perspective in terms of different buckets that we have BCom bucket, the students who are like only BCom. So what we are saying over here is that if you're only BCom, then you are not eligible unless and until you have done the BCom from the NAC-A or A+ university and college.
Correct.
Right.
Now, however, you need not worry in case you're not eligible. What we can do is that we can support you with a bridge program, right? Bridge program is of a period of 6 months to 1 year, and it can be done parallelly. So you can start writing the examination and parallelly complete the bridge course also. So that will ensure that you are able to qualify for the CPA eligibility, right? So you can start your studies and simultaneously you can get the bridge certification done. So that will be helpful in terms of getting those credit hours which are missing for the students.
Absolutely. And, I think you well covered that, we will certainly help in terms of, providing the bridge course in terms of, covering that gap in whatsoever, ever manner possible. So, you need not be worried about that. So that's the bucket number one, wherein we have the BComs. That can be NAC-A and non-NAC-A. NAC-A are straight away eligible, and that is done and dusted. If you're not BCom from a NAC-A university, of course there is a bridge course that you really need to go through, and we can certainly help you out with that. Coming on to the second bucket, Krishan, we have the MBAs and the MComs. So what you're saying is over here is that they are straight away eligible. So there is no point or there is no confusion as such. If you've done your BCom and BBA and you have gone for MBA or MCom, then you're eligible per se. There is no confusion as such. So guys, nothing to be worried. If you have this qualification, you are very well eligible. So the third bucket that you mentioned was the BCom and the CA IPCC cases. The IPCC who, people who have really qualified their IPCC. And when I say IPCC inter, it means both the groups, right? So inter 1 and inter 2 both, or IPCC 1 and 2 both. And then if you have done your BCom, then you would get the 120 credits and you're bang on there. You can just go and crash this. That's what this third bucket is all about. You can correct me, Christian, if I'm going wrong. That's what I've understood. So I really want to be calling this out so that no one is really missed on that. So the fourth bucket is the qualified professionals. So if you have a chartered accountant, CWA, and so on and so forth. So if you're qualified in terms of the whole qualification, then you straight away get those 150 credits and you're straight away eligible, and you just go and crash the exam, and that's what it is.
Correct. With 120 credits, Pankaj, what happens is there's a limitation to the states. There'll be hardly 1 or 2 states who will be happy to look at 120. However, if you have 150 credits with you, I think you'll be able to cover at least 49 out of the 50 states straight away. Right. So there should not be any challenge. Yeah.
All right. And guys, just to let you know, while we are talking on that, this evaluation as a process or this evaluation as an exercise, if this really brings some kind of confusion onto yourself and you really need any kind of help, clarification, or support in relation to that, you can certainly reach out to FinTram, and we'll be more than happy to pick your case and, of course, talk through that. We'll review that and, of course, tell you in terms of, what is the best way out for yourself to really go there and, of course, be eligible for this course and, of course, start killing this as in the best possible manner.
And in case they have got any other qualification, Pankaj, it would be a good idea for them to get it checked with FinTram first. And what FinTram can do is that FinTram can get the same evaluated through NASPA, which is National State Board of Accountants in America. So through NASPA, it can be evaluated, and based on that, they should be ready to go ahead. So that should not be a problem.
Yes. So guys, any confusion, anything that you have in mind, do not get bogged down by that. You just have to reach out to FinTram, and we'll be more than happy to pick that up and support you in the best possible way. So need not be worried on that. All right. So this effectively, I would say, covers one of the bigger aspects that I really had on my mind, which is about the eligibility of it. Now, coming on to, and again, I'm sure, many of the folks who are thinking about pursuing this really wants to know, which is like, what kind of exams are there in CPA? I've done my BCom, I've done my MCom, I've done my CA, I'm a CA, IPCC, and whatnot. Now, what exams are there in CPA, which I should be worried about? So that is something that really crops up in the student's mind. So while I can really, come on to that, but Christian, it'll be good to, hear it from you.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. So there are 4 examinations which are there in the CPA course as such. The first one is known as audit, wherein obviously we look at all the aspects related to auditing. Majority of the people who are at the age of, say, 2021, they have done their BComs or MComs or MBAs, or maybe working with any of the good organizations, they will understand audit really well. So that should not be a problem. Only thing is that in the audit examination, we have got 60% MCQs and 40% simulation-based questions. Right? When I say simulation, these are case study related questions. So you'll have a real life case study in front of you, which you need to answer. And you need to have a practical knowledge about the things, right? So just remember that in CPA examination, you do not get much of theory questions. Everything is practical and application based. So that's really very important. So when you are being taught by your faculties through online or face-to-face sessions, please remember to go back to your rooms. If you're staying in a hostel rooms, if you're at your own home, own rooms, and then actually looking at the practical application of what has been taught to you. So that's the audit paper for you, right? Audit talks about audit and attestation both practically. Then we have got business environment and concept. It is another paper wherein we talk about everything related to business, how management works, what is risk management, what are the other things which are being done in the field of business. So everything is covered there. It also takes care of a little bit of economics and few other areas. Now, it is a very important paper, very, very practical again, 60% MCQs, 40% simulation-based questions. So you need to remember that. That's really very important. The third paper is financial accounting and reporting, a very, very important area, especially for commerce graduates and Indian chartered accountants. You have already studied these things. However, just remember, no theory questions, very, very practical and application-based approach is required in the financial accounting and reporting also. And Pankaj, nobody else can actually vouch for that better than you, because you have done it yourself. You have been an Indian CA and then you have done the US CPA. So hope you understand that practically there's a huge difference. Students have to be prepared for real life practical situations and answer to those. So that's the financial accounting and reporting paper for us, right? And this paper is a very, very important paper for all of us. The fourth paper is known as regulation, right? Regulation talks about the law and the taxes related to US. Just remember my friends here, that when we look at the Indian law and Indian taxes, right, they are very different from what it is in US, right? So there is no similarity. You need not remember the sections and subsections in the law. What is really very important for you to understand is the implication of that law or the section on yourself or your organization. Certain things which might be, say, for example, ethical and right in India, they might not be right in US, right? So, and there'll be certain things which will be right in US and not in India simultaneously. So you need to actually go through these very, very carefully. Again, 60% MCQs and 40% of simulation, real life simulation cases. The best part is that the content that we provide you will take care of that. Yeah.
And I think one thing that, I would like to add on over here is that one is, of course, the curriculum, which is, what Krishnan explained. The two big pillars of CPA as a qualification is that you would have done your own country accounting standards or IFRS for that matter. CPA is primarily based upon US GAAP. So you would learn, the US GAAP principles, accounting, pronouncements, and of course, what the PCOB is really looking on to. So you'll be learning really, all of those kind of things. On the other hand, when you're doing the audit and the regulation, you're learning the US norms of audit, the US, auditing standards, the US tax laws, and so on and so forth. So precisely what is being dealt with is predominantly driven by, how the US economy really works. And of course, as I said, with the advent of various US multinational giants now having presence across the globe, the demand of folks who really understand these areas has really gone multifold. Imagine, when I did my own US CPA 20 years back, almost 20 years back, that point in time, not many of the folks were really aspiring and really looking forward to doing, US CPA. But I was in Wipro that point in time, so I can proudly say that now. I was in Wipro that point in time, and Wipro, being a US listed company, wanted to have the US GAAP professionals working on their SEC set of financials. So demand was there even at that point in time. Imagine what would have been now, considering that there are so many companies, so many national, multinationals now have presence across the globe. So imagine the, the kind of job prospects that you may have if you're really aspiring for qualification like this. So I think very well covered, Krishnan. These are the 4 subjects that they really have to look upon. One breather that I have for you is that for any qualified accountant or for BCom or BCom honors guy, many of the contents that you would see in business, maybe in some to an extent in audit, to an extent in regulation and financial reporting, you would see some basic things which you already know. So it will not be a rocket science for you, my friend. It's gonna be the same. Of course, you'll be building up your knowledge more from the US parallel standpoint, but basics gonna be remaining the same. For example, if you'll be learning, so let's say demand and supply when you're doing the business, I'm just giving an example, it's gonna be the same. It's not gonna be something that has changed. So barring the country norms, most of the content you would have done or read somewhere. The essence of this exam is that you really need to learn how examiner is asking the questions. So you have to spend good amount of time in terms of understanding how would you be handling question in the form of multiple choice, how you would be handling a simulation, how you will be managing your writing skills, and so on and so forth. So those are the things that you really need to, of course, manage and of course learn. And I can tell you proudly, as a student of Becker, and of course as a faculty with Becker, as an alumni with Becker, there is nothing better than the Becker content in terms of what is there. And of course, with really, with you really going through the content and knowing that, and of course addressing the examiner needs, sky's the limit. And I'm sure you'll be certainly coming up with the flying colors.
One thing I wanted to share here, Pankaj, is that the MCQs are not only multiple choice questions, they are multiple task questions.
Yes.
Yeah. So one needs to be prepared for that. These are tasks which will be given. And obviously you have to answer accordingly. Remember that all the 4 options look very similar to each other. Yeah, most of the times when the examination happens. So you have to actually solve. And that's why I said that it is task-based question. Yeah.
I agree. And I think, who can be saying this better than me, that all of the answer choice in the exam would look the same, my friend. The biggest problem is eliminating the answer choices over there. You would see all of the answer choices and you love them, that this is also right, this is also right, this is also right. And the confusion is which one is wrong. But but the thing is, there are 3 wrong answer choices there. You have to pick one, and that's gonna be the the challenge that you would have. But don't worry, together we'll definitely kill it. All right, coming on to Christian, in terms of delayering this more, in terms of understanding more about this as a qualification, if I really have to ask you about Becker now, I'm just switching on the gears, why do you think, and I have an answer to that, that's the core of, in the core of my heart, but why do you think, students should be going on with Becker as far as the US CPA is concerned? What is your take on that? And guys, let me tell you, I have my own answer to it, and I will certainly circle back on that. But Christian, I would love to hear from you.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. And you have put me in a very difficult situation here, because you are an alumni, you have been a student, I am an MBA, right? I'm not a CPA. But yes, I can talk about Becker, my organization, which is started in the year 1959, and it has been working since then for the betterment of the students in the field of finance and accounting areas. Talking about Becker, obviously, Becker is the name of the person who actually started this organization. He was a tutor himself. He used to teach the students face-to-face in US. And Becker did that for a very long time, face-to-face. However, 15 years back, Becker realized that time has come for us to move to online, because online is something which is the need of the hour. Practically, I don't know why they entered into online so quickly, though people realized it during COVID that online is more important than the offline medium. But yes, Becker did that. Becker came up with an artificial intelligence-based software from Sana Labs, wherein we actually check the status of the student, their abilities, etc. We give them a study planner, right? And we plan their studies. So, for example, you are a student and you can spend, say, for example, say 7 to 8 hours in a day. So, which means that the system will ask you that, can you spend 40 plus hours in a week? Right? And you say, yes, because I'm a student, I can spend that. Say you're a working professional, you can't spend more than, say, 2 hours a day. And you say that, okay, I can't spend more than 15 hours in a week, right? So you can actually choose accordingly. The system will throw the syllabi, the content in front of you, basis your choice, right? So that you're able to prepare accordingly. Also, what the system does is that it keeps on you testing throughout your journey, right? The system is so robust and so easy to navigate. You can very easily get into the system. You can see where the content is. You'll be able to go through each and every chapter. The chapters are being presented by the best of the faculties in the world. We have got the topmost faculties. They're like celebrities, right, in the field of accounting and finance. They are quite well known, and the way in which they teach, though they are in US and they are US citizens, their accent, etc., is not very difficult for the Indian students to actually understand, right? And students are able to understand and comprehend the same quite well, because the way in which they ensure that interactivity on an online video, that you will be amazed to see that. And Pankaj, I'm sure you have done that already. Now, what these faculties will do is that they will give you the real-time situations. They will take you through all types of questions, all the steps. And when you look at our tests, which we do immediately, we have got various examinations, MCQ exams, also the simulation-based exams, the task-based simulations, right? And practically various examinations are there, which will test you at every level. and the number of questions are more than 750 and beyond that, right? And we keep on testing you throughout all the levels. We have got ways in which we can tell you the answer to the particular question. When it is MCQ, also each and every answer, the option which is there would be advised to you that why this is wrong, why this is correct, right? And the solution for the same would be provided to you in the Becker system. Becker also has got various numbers of videos, various numbers of blueprint related to the AICPA examination. So there is a question bank which is there. You'll be able to see that. We're also able to see the answers to it. Again, the steps are mentioned. So it's not that, okay, MCQ C option is correct, so you just know C. No. Practically A, B, C, D, why A is wrong, why B is wrong, why D is wrong will also be told to you, and why C is correct will also be told to you. So that is the way in which Becker takes care of you in your journey. The qualification has been very well captured by Becker Professional Education because of our 60 plus years of experience, I would say, and 60 plus years of very, very young experience, because we have kept ourselves innovative and very, very practical, right? So we are agile and as young as our students are, right? And we have ensured that we provide them with the right inputs so that they're able to write the examination. In fact, the system will tell you, based on your performance, right? You should have completed these many number of MCQ tests, these many numbers of task-based simulations, right? These many numbers of the examinations which are being conducted by, which are mock exams by Becker. And based on that, Becker system will tell you that, are you actually prepared or ready for the exam or not? If you're not, please don't go ahead and write the exam. If you're prepared, then please go ahead and write the examination. So that's the way in which the system has been designed for the students. And it takes care of everything, Pankaj, from the start of your journey to the end when it comes to writing the final examination. Becker is there to support you.
See, this is what this is what an MBA does. And this is where, I'm envy of, MBAs at times, that, we being the CPA, he has explained much better than what I could have done in terms of, explaining you about Becker. And Christian, I relish that in terms of, what you just explained. And I completely reckon the fact in terms of, what Becker really brings on table. I'm being the student of Becker, since last 20 years, and being the alumni and of course, faculty with Beckers for like these many years. I completely reckon this fact and couldn't agree more on the fact that what you're really taking for yourself from the preparation standpoint when it comes to Becker, there cannot be anything better than that, because you really get what is tested in the exam. Not that they'll give you the question paper, but they really prepare you in terms of what the examiner mind is all about. And they'll point out the areas wherein you are struggling with. So the AI, in terms of how it really works for you, it'll really help you in terms of knowing where the gaps are, and of course will push you to work in that direction, and of course for you to be better prepared in terms of targeting that in the best possible manner. And of course, from the content standpoint, what is there, what Becker has really brought on table is out of the world. And you really need to go through those. And I'm sure, most of the Beckerite, whosoever has done with the Becker, they would really reckon this fact, and they would know it, that the content, what Becker has really put on the table, is something that you really need to do if you really want to clear the exam. If you really want to play, around clearing the exam, then you can, of course, refer anything and everything. But if you really want to clear the exam, this is the content that you should be referring, and of course, going through and preparing through, and of course, with the other things that Christian really mentioned, be it AI, be it the support, be it the mock exam, be it the simulation testing and whatnot. I'm sure, sky's the limit. And I'm sure with, all of this curriculum content and help and support, you would certainly have the best of the result for yourself. So I think, Christian, very well covered. And as I said, I really need to learn the MBA, tricks from you, in terms of, explaining all of these kind of things, but very, very relishing in terms of hearing about this. Thank you very much. Coming on to, guys, of course, Becker content and the AI is certainly helpful, and of course you should certainly look forward to that, and of course look forward to, in terms of thinking through your next steps. But what is important over here, Christian, is to somewhere give them the perspective about the fees. Many of the folks since either they're working or thinking about working, and now thinking about, pursuing an education, they really want to know in terms of, what the fee curriculum is all about of CPA, how much they would need to expense of, how much they would really need to be prepared for, if they're really opting for this kind of a course. I think if you can throw some light on that, I think that'll be really great.
Thanks, Pankaj, for asking this question again. Now, the fee for the CPA program is divided into various parts. Obviously, the first fee that you need to pay is towards the evaluation. You have to get yourself checked for the eligibility, right? And it is around $375 US that you need to pay for your evaluation, right? So $375 US for evaluation. In Indian rupees, I would say somewhere around 30,000 rupees approximately,
yeah.
Right? In addition to that, obviously you pay for each of the examination, and you pay around $250 per paper.
Okay.
Right? So which is around 20,000 rupees per paper. And then obviously you have to pay for an international testing fee, which is around $1,500. Right? So $1,500 plus $1,000 towards the examination plus $375. Right, so that's the fee in a nutshell for the CPA examination. In addition to that, you have to pay for the Becker content, which would be provided by FinTram, and the fee for the same, I think, will be shared separately with you all from FinTram itself. In terms of, if you look at the CPA fee and inclusive of the Becker fee, the fee that you're paying for an international qualification, which can give you a very strong employability prospect in the world, right? And I'm saying in the world, I'm not saying in India, right? Because you can look forward to a global career when you complete this course. I can tell you that we have a live example in front of us, sitting Pankaj himself, who after doing his CPA, got opportunities in American organizations, and he could actually shift his base from India to Hong Kong. He spent a very good time in Hong Kong. And then obviously he has worked for organizations who was there in US, in Canada, and in other parts of the world. And he was actually doing their accounting and finance work globally while sitting at various other places in the world. So I think we have the right example here. Otherwise also, I can tell you that the qualification will give you a very, very strong inroads into your long-term global career.
I agree. And guys, one is, you getting on to these kind of companies, which is certainly there. You're getting on to US MNCs is certainly easy if you have a qualification like this. But you know what has really helped me, and of course, I'm sure that will help you, is that your speed of growth also increases and goes multifold if you have a qualification like this, because you would always be differentiated within your own organization, because you would have an international qualification in addition to an Indian one. So, you have a dual qualification, and that is very much considered for growth, for promotions, for increase in any of the corporation. And any of the corporation means any of the corporations. So don't think that, if you're working for an Indian company, this would not work. I was working for an Indian company, in Wipro, it worked like anything. So, having the qualification like this certainly adds a very different level of stars onto yourself and gives you a very different level of kicker as far as your curriculum is, and of course the growth or the pedigree is concerned. So that is certainly to look forward to. But Christian, coming on to the fees, I think broadly, if I've understood rightly, they can expect around 2.25 lakhs kind of a fees, in addition to the tuition that they would really need to take for these 4 subjects. So that's in a nutshell, what the overall fees is all about. So guys, I can tell you, and of course, if you're really wanting to know more about this, more about the fee structure and what would be the real fees for yourself in totality, you can certainly reach out to FinTram. And the good news is that FinTram is also offering scholarships, for pursuing CPA. So if you're really thinking about that, I'm more than happy to reach out to us, and we'll be really, really handy in terms of, telling you in terms of, how to go forward with it. And of course, to tell you, how you can avail this scholarship and have the best benefit out. So that's again, something to look forward to that. So do reach out to FinTram, and I'm sure they would be able to help you out. All right. So coming on to, the next one question that I have, and I can, I'm just trying to delayer, the questions that have been asked by the students day in and day out. I think the next one would be, the kind of job opportunities that they can expect. Of course, we have spoken, taking my examples and of course various other examples. But if I really have to ask you, taking a step back in terms of, what all areas that student can really think about in terms of really getting into, from these qualifications, then what would that be?
Thank you, Pankaj. Again, employability is the most important thing when we look forward to a qualification. And in my view, we should not be doing a course if there is no opportunity, right? So we should be getting into a program which has got good number of opportunities for us today, as well as tomorrow, and a career path in the long run. Because we are just not looking for a job, we are actually looking for a very strong career path for ourselves, right? So CPA actually opens the door towards the same for you. You have got ample number of opportunities in India now. What has happened is majority of the jobs which were related to accounting and finance from US have actually been shifted to India. And these jobs have come very close to us. So these jobs are in Gurgaon, Noida, Delhi. If you look at cities like Chandigarh, Jaipur, Lucknow, right, Calcutta, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Kochi, all these places we have got good number of jobs. Why these jobs are coming here? Because there are accounting firms who have got a setup in India, and they are able to support the US-based organizations in getting their work done. That's one. So these are the, I would say, the global delivery services organizations. If you look at either KPMG, EY, PwC, or Deloitte, or the other organizations like Grant Thornton, BDO, etc. They have got US practices, and for them, it is a need. The other thing is that there are a lot of Indian companies who have become multinationals now, right? Like Wipro, Pankaj, your organization, and in the similar way, HCL and various Infosys and various other organizations, they need to report as per IFRS, as per Indian accounting standards, right? Which is in India. However, for US, they have to report as per US GAAP, as you mentioned. So for that, they need the accounting professionals who understand the job well there, and CPAs are the best chosen people for that job. The other thing is that there are various other multinational corporations who have come here and set up their base, right? And so one is Indian organizations becoming multinationals and going out. The other is multinationals coming here, and they are setting up their bases here, and they need people. They need a large set of people. I can tell you that the requirement is so huge that there is a huge demand and supply gap, which you were talking about, demand and supply in economics. In the similar way, in the accounting profession today, there's a huge demand and supply gap, which means the demand is high and the supply is less, right? And the supply is less. Why? Because obviously we do not have many professionals who have done these qualifications. My friends, so you'll agree with me that when Pankaj did the CPA course, he had to actually go to US and write the examination. Later on, the examinations came to Dubai. It was still expensive for the students. Going to US is very expensive. Going to Dubai is also very expensive. However, now the examination centers have come to India. We have got 8 examination centers in India. And I can tell you that yesterday I was talking to one of the topmost organizations in the field of accounting. And they said that India market is the best market for us today. It is growing at the most, I would say, the fastest pace across the world. It is actually now trying to compete with the US, which is really good for all of us. And I was so happy to hear that word, because Indians are required by most of the organizations globally. If you look at the top organizations in US also today, you'll see that the top person working with that organization is Indian, right? Talk about Google or Microsoft or any other organization, you'll see. In fact, the AICPA chairman is also from Indian origin, right? So you will be able to see that there are so many Indians who are able to do this really well, and they need Indian qualified professionals. One thing, obviously, I would like to tell you here is that when we look at the US practice, right, a US practice will definitely require CPAs. So for example, you are an Indian CA working with any good organization. Tomorrow, if you have to work for the US practice related work, you need to go ahead and do a CPA, because for a US organization, they don't know anything about the other qualifications. They only understand CPA. So it's really very important. So this can very well tell you the demand for the CPAs around the world. And you can, if you don't believe me, just go to Naukri and type CPA, and you'll be able to see how many jobs are there for CPAs today. I can tell you there'll be at least 25,000 plus jobs in India today, as per the current status. If you go and type that, I have not checked Naukri today, but I can tell you that you can just go and type yourself, and you'll be able to see the number of jobs which are there for CPA. So you can understand the demand is high. Demand is high not because we are here in India now. Demand is high because India is demanded by the world today, right? Everybody needs an Indian to come and work for them. Why they need an Indian to come and work for them is because we are very passionate people. We can actually talk to people in their language whenever it is required. We can talk very fast with an American or a Britisher. We can talk very slowly with a Chinese, right? So it's very easy for us to do that. As per the requirement, we can actually change our tones, etc. We can actually go ahead and do anything across the world. And that's why you see that majority of the multinational corporations are now being headed by Indians. And not only at the top position, if you look at the middle management and senior management also, you'll see a lot of Indians working there. I can tell you there are organizations, just to name one of them again. Have you heard about GMAT examination? Right, the global head of GMAT is an Indian, right? So these are the examples which are there in front of us. Indians are there everywhere, and Indians are required by the organizations across the world. So don't worry, you have actually thought about the right qualification for yourself, which can actually open the right gates for you in your career.
And one thing to add on to that, Krishnan, I completely agree with what you just said. One thing to add on is that these qualifications actually gives you not only the status but the equality in the multinational organization. So I can tell you that I have been as a head of, I have been working as a head of finance for Wipro. Then of course I was heading the finance with BlackRock. I was heading the finance for Boston Consulting. When you have these qualifications, that you actually can you have a seat on the table, and you can really talk in the language that the world really needs. And of course organization also relish that. Organization also understands that, and that is the reason your growth path or your speed of growth is also changes. And that's where you really need to put your money on, or put your thoughts on, that this is something that one should be really aspiring for. And when you forget about you reporting on to American or to Britisher, you can get on to the situation wherein world will report on to yourself, because you have really earned it, and you have earned that position, earned that stature, and of course you have really proved your worth to the world, that this is what we can really bring on table. But Krishnan, this actually brings me to a very basic question that many of the students have, which is like, how difficult is US CPA? Many of the students have it, and they're scared also. Scared also. Even I was scared when I was thinking about this. I was also scared that I don't know. God knows how I'll do this.
Okay, I can tell you one fact, and we should actually appreciate that fact, that when it comes to any professional qualification in the world, none of them can be easy. They have to be difficult, because they are professional. Otherwise, you can go and do a BCom, right? You can very easily do it. It's not difficult. But when you look at a professional course, it has to be difficult, right? However, a professional course can be flexible. Let's look at the US CPA, how it is flexible. See, we have got only 4 exams. We do not have many exams. You can actually prepare for one exam for a period of 3 months. Really prepare well for that exam, right? Instead of that, I'm not asking you that, okay, you have to prepare for all 4 together in a quarter and write them. So for example, if I ask you to do that, you will definitely fail. However, if I ask you to prepare for only one paper for 3 months, can you do that? I'm sure all of us can do that. One paper, 3 months, very focused studies, and nothing else. We're just focusing on one examination. We'll pass, move to the next exam, prepare for 3 months, pass, move to the next exam, prepare for 3 months, pass, move to the next exam, prepare for 3 months, pass. Never try to do all the 4 examinations together, or 2 papers together, or 3 papers together. That will not help you, right? If you pick up one paper, pass, and move to the next paper, what will happen is that your scores would be high, you score well, and also you can look forward to winning some awards, right? So there is a scholarship award given by Watsels, and you can actually look forward to that. In fact, a lot of Indian students, Pankaj, are actually winning that award. In the last couple of years, we have seen very good number of Indian students winning that award. And winning that award means that you have scored 95 plus in each of your papers in your CPA. So you can imagine there are people who are scoring 95 plus in this examination, right? So I'm not saying that it is easy. What I'm trying to tell you here is that it is flexible and very, very practical. Just remember that if you have been just doing rote learning, right? Since your school days and in your graduation and in any other examination, you have done rote learning, then it is a very difficult paper for you. However, if you are able to understand the practical applications of what has been taught to you, then this examination is for you. It will never be difficult for you. So examination is very flexible, not difficult.
And I don't think anyone can put this better than what you did, Krishan. None of the professional qualification is easy, guys, and you all have to understand that. But the kind of flexibility and the kind of support that Becker has for you, I'm sure, with that, it becomes a hell lot easier. But still, you have to give your 100% to it if you really want to clear it. So I think very well covered, Krishan. Thank you for that. One thing that that I really want to ask, and this is something that is coming off late, many of the students are really asking that, is about the CPA evolution. It's a scary thing in the heads of many of the currently pursuing students that we have, that what is CPA evolution, what is going to be happening to us, what does that really mean, and how does that impact us, or how would that impact us as we go forward and give other exams and this and that. So what is that? If you can throw some light on that, in terms of, what the CPA evolution is all about, I think that'll be really great, Christian, for people to really understand and appreciate as to what that is all about.
Right, Pankaj. And again, a very, very important and a pertinent question considering the current changes which are coming up in January 2024. So just 1 year from now, we'll have the CPA evolution, and we know what is evolution all about, right? We are looking forward to some changes, and changes are always difficult for people, right? People feel that, oh, there's a change. I won't be able to manage it. It would be very tough for me. And I can tell you that there is no difficulty. There's no toughness there. These changes are coming for your benefit only, right? These are based on the changing skills and competencies in the market, right? Because what is happening is the requirement for the industry is changing. We have got various new requirements which are coming up. If you look at the current situation, the industry needs specific experts. They need expertise in the areas in which you are trying to work, right? So our papers like audit, regulation, financial accounting and reporting remain the same. There is no change at all. These three papers will remain the same. The paper BEC obviously will look at some kind of changes, right? So there'll be 3 new papers which would be introduced. And just remember that you're not supposed to attempt all 3. You have to attempt only 1. Okay, so the BEC would be divided into 3 parts, right? So one is obviously related to tax and compliances. The second is related to information technology. And the third is related to business analytics, right? These are the areas which have been in demand as per the current market requirements. These will actually prepare you and give you that competency and the skills to perform your job better. My friends, just remember one thing, that the basic jobs, which were quite mundane in nature, right, which were like doing basic accounting work, like doing journal entry, ledger entry, trial balance, P&L account, balance sheet, these jobs have actually moved to the robots or the softwares now. These robots and softwares can actually work 24/7 and give the right numbers or the solutions as required by the organizations. But the organizations now need experts who can analyze the data and practically go ahead and take the right decisions or help the management in taking the right decisions. So that would be your job going forward. And that's why these changes are coming. So tax and compliance, if you wish to get an expertise in the field of taxes, then you can move ahead and write the tax and compliance exam. If you want to be an expert in the field of IT related to accounting, then definitely you can look at doing the IT paper. Otherwise, if you're looking at analytics, then you have the option of looking at the analytics paper. Choice is yours. You have 3 options going forward. So there won't be any BEC from January 24, and there'll be these 3 papers out of which you have to choose one. So the number of papers still remain 4. There is no change at all. Okay, number of papers are 4. A lot of people thought that number of papers are becoming 6. So I would like to clear that myth. There is no 6 papers. There'll be only 4 papers. Only thing is you have an option to choose amongst these 3 examinations. Now, I can tell you that the BEC exam still is the highly respected examination, and it can take you to the licensing. In case you wish to write the exam before, you have a choice. You can write it now immediately, and before January 24, you can complete the examination and the rest of the 3 papers. In fact, if you start now, I think by the time you touch December, you would have completed the entire CPA course, right? As I told you that every quarter you pick up 1 paper and prepare for that. So you need not worry about these changes. In case you feel that, no, I'll be looking at writing any of those 3 examinations in January, going forward, then choice is yours. You can look forward to that. So this is evolution for competency and your own skills, so that you are able to prepare yourself well for the future requirements of the market. See, we cannot just be looking at what has happened in the past. To keep ourselves relevant, what we have to do is that we have to look at the future requirements, and that's what the CPA is going to do. And Becker has already prepared everything, and whatever is there in for the evaluation is ready with Becker now, and we'll be able to provide the entire content and support to you to prepare you for these 3 examinations also. Yeah.
Excellent. Krishna, I think, the essence of this change is that, the beauty of AICPA is that they're really changing the way the industry is changing. So they really want to stay relevant for the industry, and they're really changing themselves as a curriculum so that, the folks who are doing it, they're also relevant from the marketability standpoint. So that's again a big advantage, guys, that you all have if you're really pursuing something like this, because course is always relevant from the market standpoint.
Yeah.
But one
in fact,
thing that
Pankaj, just wanted to add, sorry to intervene, that the entire changes are happening based on the feedback we have received from the industry and the academia. So academia as well as industry, they have come together and given that feedback so that we are able to look at creation of these new areas.
Thank you. I think that's very insightful. But just one thing that many of the students generally ask is, let's say I'm starting my CPA now, right? And I'm starting with BEC, just taking an example. I'm starting with BEC. I clear BEC in 3 to 4 5 months from now. And another exam also I clear in 3 4 months from now. So by end of this year, I've cleared 3 exams. Let's say BEC, financial reporting, and audit. I'm just giving an example, right? Regulation is left. So will I be only needed to give regulation in next year, or everything else changes? Since this evolution is coming, my 3 exams that I've cleared stays there, right? Nothing changes or nothing impacts.
Nothing changes, Pankaj. It's very clear. See, you could have completed all 4, you could have completed 1 or 2, doesn't matter. You should have completed BEC. In case you have not done BEC, then you have an option in January. And remember one thing, that it is going to help you only. There is nothing which is going to make your situation difficult than somebody else who has already completed. So
Agreed.
that's not a problem at all.
And if I really have to ask it otherwise, I have cleared all 3, but not BEC. And 1st January 2024 really hits me. Then I can't give BEC. I have to choose one from those 3 exams and give that.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So guys, I think many of you had this query and wanted to understand. I think we have very well covered it, because we really wanted you to be free from all the doubts that you may have. I'm sure that would be very helpful. So thank you, Krishna. I think it was very helpful in terms of understanding this. Now coming on to a few of my last questions that I had. One thing that I really wanted to touch upon was we have spoken on in terms of what Becker is offering, and of course what the student really have to expect from that. Why FinTram Becker? Why one should be really coming on, and of course looking forward to having their career with us. And I have an answer to that too. Krishna, as I said, I really want can answer that, but I really wanted to it is always good to understand from you in terms of what the student has to hear as to why they should be choosing on, and of course coming on, and of course having the faith in us. What do you think about that?
Thank you so much, Pankaj. I think the answer definitely needs to come from you, because you are the role model for these students. And I can tell you, my friends, that Pankaj, because of his own qualifications of CA and CPA, he becomes the right person to guide you towards your journey. Not only that, with his experience, because he worked in the industry, and in his last role, he was working as the global finance head of Boston Consulting Group. So he comes from I would say the accounting side and finance both. So he understands both the worlds. And I know that all of us understand that accounting and finance both are slightly different from each other. Normally, we use them as a synonymous word, but practically they are just opposite to each other, right? So the accounting will look at only the numbers and the classification of numbers. On the other side, we have got finance, which will talk about managing money, etc. But then, yes, Pankaj has done both of them, and he'll be able to give the right practical nuances to prepare for these examinations. So that's what is my take on this. Otherwise, also, as I have already mentioned to you, that Becker and FinTram together have been working to support the students at the best of the business schools also, right? We work with the top business schools today, and these business schools are offering the MBA programs or the PG programs along with CPA now. So in case you wish to pursue that, that is another option, and for which Pankaj can give you further details separately. So you can understand, when these institutions, the business schools, are showing faith in FinTram, then who am I to say no to them, right? So practically the business schools have shown faith on FinTram and Becker together. And I'm sure you can very well appreciate this fact that Pankaj's journey will actually give you the right practical inputs towards your own preparation for the CPA world. Pankaj, you can add further from your side now. Yeah.
I actually don't have anything to add on to that, but one thing that I really want to highlight or give you a perspective is in terms of what FinTram really brings onto the table. Of course, with the with my overall mentoring that I do in terms of creating and co-creating this as a curriculum, we have been working with various business schools and of course with various organizations at large. What we're really bringing in for yourself is to get you the best in class live online interactive sessions, while you would also get the comprehensive study material, the best in class recorded sessions by the world renowned Becker, as an organization. But what we would be providing you is the live interactive sessions to really curl and then of course kill any kind of concerns and queries that you may have, even when you're going through those recorded sessions or any content questions that you may have. We would certainly be providing you the self-paced learning in the LMS in terms of what Christian just mentioned in terms of having the right and artificial intelligence for yourself to really assess yourself. So we will be providing you that. There would be a targeted mentoring by the qualified CPAs like myself, my friend, in terms of you really getting onto the curve and we really helping you out in terms of you really knowing to the best of extent possible the content. And there would be an end-to-end support that we would be providing with the most concerned areas, which is like the student evaluation, the licensing, and so on and so forth. So we would be helping you out on that in terms of you really knowing all of those nuances so that there is no confusion that is there in your mind. Towards the end, we would also work on to the revision boot camps and of course giving you the mock exams, the evaluation, just to ensure that you're not missing on that as at all in terms of you really knowing that to the best of the capacity, if I may say that. And of course the kind of resolution mechanism that you have in terms of the doubt solving and of course the query resolution is something that is exemplary. So you would be really taken up in the best of the spirits to really help you in terms of clearing this exam in the best possible way. And that's what we intend to, and that's what we're trying to build on and of course bring onto the table for yourself. So that's, I think, I really wanted to really bring on to the table. I think we are just on time. I just about time. I just wanted to cover all of these broad things. I do have a couple of questions that really cropped up, Krishan. I think not a very extensive ones, but one thing that came up was that can a CA intermediate do CPA? I think we very well covered that. If you're not you joined late, Ruchika, you can certainly circle back on this video. It will be available on the YouTube. Yes, CA intermediate is fully eligible for purchasing CPA. It is certainly there. Shaikh asked a question which is like ACCA and CPA both are equal importance in the industry, or I think then he has not written anything. So I don't know if your question is that are they equally important in the industry?
Yes.
in their ways, of course they are equally important, and I'm sure they have their own pluses and in the respect of the companies that are looking forward for for these qualifications, because CPA is more, I would say, US oriented, ACCA is more UK oriented, and then comes the acceptability of both of the qualifications are global. It really depends on which you really want to choose on. What is the role of state board, AICPA, NASBA, and of course the other ones? We can certainly talk on that, Ishan. We'll certainly circle back on that. You can certainly reach out to FinTram and we can discuss that. Ruchika says, can we hold license of multiple states? I think, Krishnan, this for you. Can you have multiple state licenses for CPA? I have the answer, but I just wanted to have it for yourself.
No, I think you can answer and then I'll add further.
Yeah. So guys, when you are applying for a CPA license, you generally apply for a particular state, and for that only you get the license. But if you move on to a different state and you're applying for that too, basis the requirements that you really need to fulfill for that particular state, you can also have that too. But why would you want to have Ruchika multiple licenses? You can have one and you can really do wonders, my friend. There is nothing to be worried about. I think, Krishnan, this is for you. Is there a time limit for completing all the 4 parts of CPA exam?
Normally, yes, it is 18 months. However, we have seen students completing it in a year's time. So see, if you are preparing really well, right, and as I said, 3 months for one paper, then 1 year should be a very good time. And what Becker does is that we provide you the content for a period of 24 months, right? So that you have that support with you. But yes, from the date of registration to writing all the 4 parts, there's a period of 18 months, which is given by ACCA.
Okay, the next one comes. I'm already a CA member in India. Would I be eligible for any exemptions? Guys, there are only 4 exams. We do not have many over here. Only 4 exams, no exemptions. You have to give 4 exams. I was a qualified CA, my friend, at that point in time. I also gave these 4 exams. So no exemptions, my friend. You have to be there and giving the exams in the best possible way. Any further questions, guys, before we really wrap up? I know I'm holding on, Krishnan, 10 minutes more.
Yeah, I think this is something which we have already discussed.
We have already covered this. Ruchika, we have already covered that. I think if you'll go through the video once again, I'm sure you would have the answer for this. I think that's pretty much, Krishnan. I think it was wonderful to have you here, again. And of course, this is not the end. Krishnan will be troubling you a lot more because, students really need you. And of course, understand from you. We will be spending good amount of time in terms of, taking these queries and of course, answering to the best extent possible. I really want to thank you, on the behalf of entire team. And of course, on the behalf of student fraternity for being here and helping us in terms of clearing all the doubts. And we look forward for having more such valuable sessions again and again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Pankaj. Pleasure to be here. And all the best, the students who have been attending this session today, patiently for more than an hour. And I look forward to interacting with you once again in future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Look forward. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.